Jonah could no longer see the path he walked down, but then I guess he really didn't need to. He knew the path like the back of his hand. He had walked down it every day since he was a boy, from his own house into the forest to get firewood. He used to close his eyes and see if he could make it without looking. I guess the only difference was now that even if he did open his eyes, he wouldn't see anything. Jonah liked the forest. Even though he couldn't see the milk-white snow or the soft shifting of the tree branches as the wind blew past, he could still hear the songs of the birds. He liked birds. He liked the calm, cool air and other signs of the outdoors. But then, Jonah was always a man of the outdoors. I guess it takes a special kind of person to go through what he's gone through and still feel the cool silence of the air in the morning. Still hear the soft whispers of the trees. I guess it was because someone saved him. Someone took him in. Someone he had never seen, never would see. But I guess it didn't matter to him. It was World War I. Jonah has enlisted in the army 9 days before his 18th birthday. It was never good to be alone. Being alone meant that if you're seen by an enemy soldier, you'd be his only target. Being alone meant if you got hurt, no one would help you. Being alone meant that if you died, no one would know. Of all the bullets fired in this battle, only one struck Jonah. This lone bullet, probably aimed poorly and directed by what seemed to him at the time to be pure chance, hit him in the left eye. He lay there on the hard, solid ground for 2 days, regretting his faith, regretting his choices, regretting his life. By the time he was found, the battle was over. The battle inside of him, however, was still raging. He was found in the Russian fields after 2 horrible days of suffering. By this time, he was completely blind. The person who found him took him in, fed him, and cared for him. After all of his wounds had healed, however, his caretaker left. Jonah knew he lived nearby. He could hear him chopping wood every morning. He could smell the food and coffee that his mysterious caretaker had always prepared. But Jonah never had the chance to talk to him. He was never able to say a single word to his caretaker, not even a thank you. It was the same every day. He would walk out of his house into an alcove in the forest where his caretaker had left him firewood the previous day. He would go outside at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and find a picnic basket with food inside. He would eat, and then he would go to sleep. Then, on a regular day, just like any other, something happens. Something which he wasn't expecting. Something that would inevitably change his life.
Somebody there? Whoever you are, please say something.
We stood there a long time, him and I. It wasn't until much later, I think, that he realized who I was. He must have pondered for a long time, wondering who I was and why I was standing there. I don't even think I knew, until I heard him finally speak to me. It was a long time, until we would see each other again.
Who is it? Please, come in. Please, sit down. I haven't had visitors in a long time.
I'm sorry I can't stay long.
That's okay. Please, make yourself comfortable.
Thanks.
You were standing outside my door yesterday. It was you, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm sorry. I have something important to tell you.
That's okay. I don't get visitors often anyway. When I do get one, it makes life so much more interesting, even if they're just standing there.
Yeah. I didn't know how to break it to him. He was such a pleasant man. I couldn't bear the thought of telling him. But that's what I came here to do.
It's you, isn't it? The one who rescued me from the awful battle. I think I would recognize that voice anywhere. Thank you for all you've done for me. You've been so kind.
Yes, sorry I didn't introduce myself. It's just that what I have to tell you carries so much weight.
Please, tell me. I'm a full-grown man. I can take it.
Very well. I served in the armed forces when I was younger. I wasn't a very good soldier. I couldn't fire my rifle if my life depended on it. In fact, I fired only one shot the entire war. I didn't follow my orders very well. My commander told me to stay with the rest of the unit, and yet something drove me off to go up to the nearby hill and see what was out there. I went to the top of the hill, and I saw one soldier. Somehow, I knew that I could hit him. He was 500 yards away. He looked like an ant from where I stood, and yet I took an aim at him, knowing that I could hit him. When I fired the shot, I knew that it hit him, even before it did. I knew I had hit him in the most devastating place that a human being can be hit, beside the brain or heart. I hit him in his left eye. I knew from that moment that he was blind. And when I saw what I had done, I ran away. And I ran until I reached the bunker. I hid there for 2 days until the war was over. When I came out, that same compulsion drove me back to that man that I had hit. It drove me to rescue him. It drove me to be his everlasting caretaker until he or I died. I cared for him with everything I had, but it was not enough to make him see again. He was blind forever, and there was nothing I could do. I tried in vain to repay that debt by other means, but I can never repay his debt. I can never make things even until I can make him see again. But he will never see again. So, I'm sorry, but I can never repay you. I can never make things right. I've stolen your life, your sight, your future, and for that, I'm terribly sorry. Good night. I didn't expect him to forgive me. I expected him to be angry with me, even to hate me, as I expected him to wish that I never lived, that I died in that war, and that I had been buried under an unmarked grave in an unmarked cemetery somewhere where nobody would ever find me. I had stolen his life. It didn't matter so much anymore if he stole mine. Oh, hi. Please come in. Can I get you anything, Jonah? Tea, coffee, juice?
No, thank you. You know, when I was lying there, in those Russian fields, suffering from the agonizing pain of that bullet wound, I think I lost all hope. But it wasn't just then that it started. As long as I can remember, I've never been looking forward to my life. I've never had any real hope for the future. I guess that's why I joined the army. I just submitted my life, my soul, and my will to the merciless grip of war. I was not treated with any leniency. I had any hope I had had beaten out of me. I was turned into a machine, not driven by the promise of the future, but by the screaming of a general in the present. I was a slave, essentially. There was no light in my future. There was no hope in my soul. I was living, not because I wanted to, but because I had not yet died. But then I was shot. I lay there as hopeless as ever, maybe more. But then, in the final moment of my total despair, I was saved. A man, seemingly riding on a golden chariot, picked me up, took me to safety, fed, sheltered, clothed, and cared for me. For the first time ever, the future began to whisper promises to me. As I began to live the simple life I have now, I gained more and more hope. I have more hope for my future now than I have ever had in my past. You have not taken anything from me. You have given me more than I could have ever imagined. You have given me hope. You have nothing to apologize for. You have given me a greater gift than I have ever received in my life. If anything, I have to apologize to you for never showing my appreciation for what you've done for me.
As I sat there listening to him speak, I began to entertain the idea that it was not a mistake that I shot him, that this was not a terrible incident of war, that he had lost his vision, that it was something more. I think, looking back on all of this, that it was all meant to happen. I think that sometimes what we do is not pure choice, but is guided by a mysterious fabric of life. I think that when we do things which others may think are insane, or odd, or crazy, maybe we're not just doing them because we're insane, or odd, or crazy. Maybe we're doing them just because we are meant to.